Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guys, for God's sake, fund it. Former NASA astronauts making a dire plea to protect us from killer asteroids. And so, this is a former Apollo 9 astronaut, Russell Rusty Schweickart, and he's immediately advocating funding existing technology and basically just scanning at a much faster rate than we are scanning and paying attention to these asteroids that could actually kill cities and perhaps even potentially planet killers. There's a lot of evidence for interesting impacts in the past. You know, you guys are probably familiar with Tunguska, and Tunguska occurred back in 1908. If it had struck over Manhattan, it would have wiped out an area twice the size of New York City, which obviously there are tens of millions of people in that area. So it could be potentially tremendously devastating. And so he feels that NASA and our government is not doing enough. We've had over 70 close call asteroids that came within one lunar distance so far this year, and we still have more time to go. And we've seen evidence of blasts in the past. And actually, just a little while ago, we had one in 2013 in Russia that sent over 1,000 people to the hospital, some with serious injuries. Now, live science, we have this also. Cosmic airburst may have wiped out part of the Middle East 3,700 years ago. So this was something that exploded over a portion of the Middle East, which is basically north of the Dead Sea. And this is actually at this site here. Well, this is just one of the sites. This blast actually wiped out many towns or cities in this whole area. And so there's the Tal El Haman excavation project ongoing right now. And if you're in the area, you could be a volunteer. You could be a dig volunteer. That would be actually kind of cool. And anyway, this event, 3,700 years ago, wiped out a tremendous amount of area, approximately 200 square miles immediately north of the Dead Sea. It wiped out 100% of the cities and towns. And it also stripped agricultural soils from the once fertile fields, and it covered the whole area with a superheated brine of Dead Sea salts. And it's pretty amazing when you think about that, what it did. And it took 600 years for the area to recover sufficiently from the soil destruction and contamination before civilization could again become established in this area, which is called Eastern Middle Gore. And so among the places destroyed was that site that they're doing the dig at, Tal El Hammam, an ancient city that once covered 36 hectares of land, 89 acres of land. So a pretty good-sized city for those days. And there's evidence that they've uncovered, especially pottery, that has an unusual appearance. The surface of the pottery has been vitrified or turned to glass. Think about that. The temperature was so high that pieces of zircon within the pottery turned to glass, something that requires a temperature of more than 7,230 degrees Fahrenheit, 4,000 degrees Celsius. So very interesting, but it was also a short event because it didn't heat the pottery all the way through. So it was a quick flash event, which the only natural occurring event capable of something like that would be what they call an airburst. And those, as we said, have happened throughout history, especially Tunguska. And so 3,700 years ago, this area is 200 square miles, completely destroyed. And so they say that airburst must have happened at less than 3,280 feet above ground, less than 1 kilometer. And in order to be that localized, in comparison, Tunguska airburst damaged 830 square miles of land. So very, very interesting. Honestly, it gets me thinking of Sodom and Gomorrah, a story from the Bible. Also gets me thinking of from the Lost Book of Enki, as well as other Sumerian texts talking about the wars going on that existed between the gods. And so there was this one secret weapon that Enki had, and he thought he was the only one that knew where it was. Well, during their battles with each other, one of the gods detonated it over an area and wiped out everything. And so it gets you thinking about those things, also gets you thinking about Vimanas, from the Vedas and the Hindu mythology, talking about the wars between the gods with blasts from their weaponry that is like the light of 1,000 suns, so it really gets you wondering. And interesting because, this airburst, quote unquote, that's exactly what happens with nuclear weapons. They explode above the ground. And so, the ones in Nagasaki and Hiroshima were detonated about 500-600 feet above the ground. And they also make temperatures hot enough to do that, vitrification of the pottery and turn it into glass. So what exactly did explode? I mean, we do have to keep an eye out for asteroids. That does seem to be something that could be life-threatening for sure. But it just makes me wonder, what's really going on here? Perhaps ancient man thought that a cosmic airburst from a meteor or a asteroid, a comet, was gods fighting, quote unquote, or perhaps this is actually advanced weaponry from leftover civilizations like Atlantis, Lemuria, what have you, or even extraterrestrials or interdimensionals even. So it's interesting because we definitely have some evidence that shows something like this happened in about the place that we've got legends about and about the time period as well. So it's very, very curious and very interesting. And I'd love to get your guys' take on this. So as always, my friends, thumbs up to support the channel. Please do subscribe, join our growing family, and share with as many people as possible so we can wake them up to everything that's going on. And prepared people are definitely safer people, both to themselves and to others. My friends, may you be blessed with abundant peace, love, happiness, good health, and well-being. God bless, and namaste.